Friday to everyone out there. Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome as the Buffalo Bills get that evening practice at New Era Field. It's pretty much the training camp day that a lot of fans are looking forward to. It just means we're one day closer to the NFL preseason and the start of the 2019 regular season. Again, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. I'm going to wait for you guys all to get in here so we can talk about NFL training camp. Hey, John Roberts. Hey, King Cam. Welcome to Believers Talk. Good to see you. We're going to, like I said, wait a couple minutes, let everyone get in here so we can start talking about what happened today at Buffalo Bills training camp, and also just some news and notes, things to look forward to as the season gets closer and closer. Press, welcome to Believers Talk. Ronald Enix, welcome. Again, thanks for joining me, guys. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, guys, hit that subscribe button. And again, I want to be sure to point out, don't forget about the www.bewarethestampede.com, the giveaway that we are doing, partnering with them this season. As part of that partnership, we are giving away this. You want to talk about Hall of Fame this weekend, Hall of Fame weekend. You want to talk about Hall of Fame, this Andre Reed signed mini helmet. So go to www.bewarethestampede.com, log your entries there. If you already subscribed to Believers Talk, you can still enter. Just log it there. That's why we did it this way, so that way if you are a subscriber, you can still enter to win this Andre Reed helmet. Mark Davis, welcome to Believers Talk again, guys. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, guys. I'm going to make sure to get to all of your comments. I think I just deleted or closed out of Google. So what happens when I close out of Google? I wonder if you guys can still hear me and see me.
You're still there.
All right. So let me take a look here as I get you guys back up. What I have to do. We all know I don't know what I'm doing. But again, guys, thank you for joining me. I'll make sure to get to the comments and get to everything as soon as I can. Again, just pulling up the live stream. I might turn it off for a minute and then turn it back on just so I can see the chat again. So I do apologize for that. But again, welcome to Believers Talk. We are going to talk about the training camp today. We are going to talk about a lot of other things as well. So make sure you stay tuned. Again, I'm just going to make sure that I have this right so that way you can all see me. I can see the comments. I want to make sure that I get to all the comments. There is some news from today's event, so we do want to get into that as well. A training camp date 8, of course. So give me 1 second here. It says I'm live and I'm back. So, okay, cool. I'm back. So I do apologize for that. I was told the tailgating section is finally back in and another live video. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Trevor. Again, thank you, Mark. I'm here. Welcome to Believers Talk. Can't wait to hear how our receiver Robert Foster looked. Well, obviously, I wasn't at training camp, so I'm just going to keep you up to date on things that I hear when I hear them, obviously. The biggest news coming out of camp today was Jon Feliciano did get injured, was being looked at by the trainers, and then went back to the locker room. He did not stay at practice, so hopefully it's not a serious injury for Jon Feliciano. Obviously was going to be a big part in that offensive line. And also, I mean, we know that the offensive line has gotten a little beat up, right? I mean, so we're going to keep taking a look at that. We're going to keep obviously looking at that situation as well. I do want to remind everyone again about the sweepstakes, about the giveaway, the Andre Reed helmet. Also want to remind everyone that tomorrow is the Hall of Fame ceremony. I did a video on the Hall of Fame, so after this, you want to check that out. Everyone who is being inducted in the Hall of Fame, I cover them all. How are they doing in training camp? Welcome, Eric, to Believers Talk. Other than getting hurt, it seems the offensive line really getting banged up. I mean, you talk about Mitch Morse, you talk about Quentin Spain, and now, like I said, you talk about Jon Feliciano. Other than getting a little banged up, everything seems to be going okay. But we've seen with day 6 and 7 that when the offensive line is beat up, then that does not bode well for Josh Allen's protection, right? Ty Nsekhe fighting with Cody Ford for that tackle position. What in the world? How is Mitch Morse? From what I hear, Mitch Morse is doing just fine. He's just still recovering. He was not in pads today, so we need to wait on that. Again, I'm not worried about Mitch Morse. Again, I feel like some of these injuries, a lot of these injuries, sorry, there was a bug there. A lot of these injuries are precautionary. I feel like if Mitch Morse was game time situation, I think he'd be playing today. But again, they just want to hold him back. Again, my biggest concern would be August 16th. August 16th is going to be that second preseason game against Carolina Panthers. I want to see the starters playing in that game. So, hey, yeah, absolutely, King Cam. Thanks a lot, guys. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Again, comment if you haven't commented. Happy to answer any of your questions. Again, I wasn't at training camp, obviously, but I will keep you up to date on everything going on as I know it. Also hit that like button, like I said, and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Go over to BewareTheStampede.com and log your entry for a chance to win that Andre Reed mini helmet. So far, Josh Allen looks good when he has the offensive line that can protect for him, right? Like I talked about, day 6, day 7, we have seen the defense really winning those days. So it's hard to say. It's hard for Josh Allen to look good when he's always on the run, right? Now, we know about Josh Allen's arm. We know about his strength. We know about his current development with Brown looking good so far. Him and John Brown looking good together. But again, if he's constantly on the run, he's just not going to continue to do well. And we can expect that going into the season. That's why getting these offensive linemen healthy and keeping them healthy is a big deal. We need to get this line healthy, and that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of what's going on with the health stuff, especially with Mitch Morse, is mostly precautionary because we don't need to get more guys injured. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Like I said, I'm looking forward to that August 16th game. Okay, so he did throw a pick in training camp today. So I'm reading about that now with Dan Feets on Twitter. So it says there's highs and lows for Josh Allen so far today. And that's something, guys, follow me on Twitter, and I'll keep you up to date there as well. So again, thank you guys for joining me. I'm tired of the Buffalo Bills getting disrespected. I did do a video on that. Is Ray for real, or is this a training camp show? Mark Davis, thanks for the question. Ray McLeod is really impressed. He really impressed in OTAs as well. Sean McDermott, Coach McDermott, did talk about how he seems to be progressing a lot in his second year. Seems to be getting it a little bit more. So, I know that there's a battle for that 6th, possibly 7th receiver. No reason why not think that Ray McLeod can't get that spot. Everyone was so excited about Duke Williams and about David Sills, including myself. I love David Sills. I said he would make this roster. But here we are, not hearing much about them. And, we hear about Easley, and we hear about Ray McLeod, and it makes you wonder if the coaching staff had something different planned the whole time, right? So you look at Ray McLeod, made some good plays, definitely in days 5 and day 6 of training camp, if my memory serves me correctly. They were talking about him a lot then. And, he's consistently there, and he's consistently getting better. He even had some time with the ones during training camp. So it does make you think, hey, the coaching staff really likes this kid. And he is a Sean McDermott guy, right? He was drafted by Sean McDermott. So we all know that Sean McDermott likes to stick to his guys, stick to his guns. Look at the Nathan Peterman situation, right? And he even traded up to get... No, he tried to get Zay Jones. That's what I'm thinking of. But and that wasn't him either. That was the draft for Sean McDermott. But anyway, getting back to the point, he is a Sean McDermott guy. So I think Sean McDermott's definitely going to give him another chance here. And that's definitely a wild card. That's something I did not see coming at the beginning of training camp. That's going to take up one of those wide receiver spots. And that's fine, but that just means, and even Easley, everyone's talking about Easley looking good in training camp as well. Does that mean he takes another wide receiver spot? That's 6 wide receivers if we think that Zay Jones, John Brown, Cole Beasley, and Ray Foster are going to be the top 4. Robert Foster are going to be the top 4. Then there's your other 2, right? And then you're thinking about Andre Roberts on special teams, and also he's been practicing with the ones as well. There's a huge competition at that wide receiver position. However, the guys that a lot of us fans thought were going to be involved in it are not. You talk about David Sills, you talk about Duke Williams. A lot of fans were excited about those 2 guys, and they're just not showing up on the depth chart when it comes to wide receiver progress and when it comes to getting reps at training camp. Next question is from PTCY Press, asking, was Oliver making moves tonight? We've constantly seen Oliver getting better and better as camp goes on. The last 3 days at camp, he wasn't there today though, but the last 3 days of camp, Kyle Williams was there to give Ed Oliver some tips, some pointers, go over some things with him. And so that has really improved Ed Oliver's game. You kind of see it. And he is getting reps with the ones now. So you gotta believe that come regular season, he's going to be ready to go and ready for to be with the number one guys, to be next to Star Lotulelei. So we'll see what continues to happen there. Trevor Lewis, Duke Williams gets cut. I called it in May. Yeah, if you watch my episodes, and most people know I wasn't too high on Duke Williams. Again, like I said, if he makes the team, that's good for the Bills. So I'm not upset about that. But I was not as high on Duke Williams as a lot of other people were. Now, David Sills is someone I was a big fan of. I even had us drafting David Sills in my mock draft, and we ended up getting him as an undrafted free agent. I think I had him going in the 5th round to the Bills. Ends up going as an undrafted free agent. I really like him. I don't think he's going to make the practice squad if that's the Bills' intent to put him on the practice squad. I don't think he's going to make it. I think one of these wide receiver needy teams is going to pick him up if we try to do it that way. So if we are dropping him, we should not expect to see him on the practice squad. King Cam, Ron Lennox is right. We're going to shut them apart this season. All the doubters, all the haters, everything that's going on, we're going to shut them up this season. Again, it's very much dependent on the offensive line getting and staying healthy. I mean, you talk about the difference between Mitch Morse and Russell Bodine. There's a huge difference there. Now, I know Spencer Long can play some center as well, but we saw Spencer Long at center last year for the Jets, and it wasn't like that was a huge upgrade for the New York Jets. That's why they weren't too concerned about picking him up when he became a free agent. So we'll see what happened. It's going between Brown, Beasley, Foster. It's going to be Brown, Beasley, Zay, Foster, Roberts, and Ray. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the case, but you do have to wonder where's everyone's talking about Marcus Easley too. Are you putting Easley in there? Again, I actually had us getting 7, and that was from Anthony, so thank you, Anthony. I actually had us keeping 7 wide receivers during my roster breakdown because we kept 5 defensive ends last year. I don't see us keeping 5 defensive ends this year, so that's going to give us an extra roster spot. I see that happening at the wide receiver position, especially with Robert's special teams ability. We lost a lot of special teams guys in the running game in the offseason that we didn't re-sign. Frank Gore isn't going to play special teams, guys. I hate to break it to you. TJ Yeldon probably won't play special teams if he makes the team. So will Roberts be a guy to make the team and be a special teams guy? Who knows? We'll see what happens. Andre Roberts has been the 4th wide receiver all camp. Yeah, it's been between Andre Roberts and Robert Foster, right? Robert Foster has shown sparks, but for the most part, it's been Andre Roberts. You're absolutely right, Nick. So we'll see what goes on. What's your take on the second quarterback spot? Who starts? Well, they talked to the defensive coordinator just earlier this week, I believe it was, and he said it's going to be Levi Wallace, right? So we have to believe that Leslie Frazier, when he says currently it's Levi Wallace, that's who it's going to be. We know it's a competition between Levi Wallace and Kevin Johnson, the guy we picked up from the Texans, but it looks like Levi Wallace is in the driver's seat, and Levi Wallace played pretty well for us last year, so I'm not too disappointed about that. Now, he doesn't have the big play capabilities as Johnson does, so that gives Johnson a little bit of an edge there. However, he's been more consistent throughout camp, right? You will take that lack of a big play potential if you're not giving one up on the other side every once in a while, right? So I'd rather have an incomplete pass than a 50-50 ball where it's either intercepted or ran in for a touchdown. If I know it's going to be an incomplete pass 85% of the time, I'd rather that than interception 20% of the time, if that makes sense. You can let me know if you agree with me or not, but we'll see. Will Singletary play special teams as a rookie? I don't see it, just because I think Singletary's best potential to play special teams would be as a return guy. But when you talk about having Sonoris Perry and you talk about having Andre Roberts, we have our return guys, right? We have them. He could play kickoff if we have like the 2 men back in the end zone waiting for the kickoff type formation. We could have him play at that point. But I just don't know how good of a blocking running back he's going to be in the NFL. I haven't seen him blocking too much in camp yet. We'll obviously see in preseason. I think when he came out of college, they ruled him as an underrated pass blocker. So we'll see what happens. I don't see it. I think he's more utilized with this offense. And man, he is someone who's really impressed this whole training camp. And so I continue to look forward to see him in the preseason, see what he can do. He's shown flashes. He's shown patience. He's shown like just agility. I think he's going to do pretty well. There was that video just yesterday of him catching a long deep pass from Josh Allen. I am very impressed so far with Devin Singletary. I look forward to seeing what he can provide for this offense. So that was from Trevor Lewis, so thanks for that. Ronald Enoch says I think CB2 is Levi Wallace, and that's so far that's every report that we have. That's who they're saying it is going to be. John Cruzado, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk again, guys. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. If you hit that subscribe button now, go to www.bewarethestampede.com. We're partnering up this season. Go ahead and get yourself entered to win this Andre Reed signed Buffalo Bills helmet. So we asked, does Tyree Jackson have a chance to make the squad? Well, I learned this in watching #sports the other day. Paul reminded us of this fact. If you carry over a third string quarterback, that does not hurt your 53-man roster, something that was worked in the CBA. If you carry over a third quarterback, you can actually have a 54-man roster. I forget the exact details. You have to go look at #sports. I go over that in one of their videos. But for that reason, Tyree Jackson has a chance to make the team. However, the last time we had the three quarterbacks on our roster at the same time, it was when we had Webb on the team. Joe Webb was a huge special teams guy. I don't think Tyree Jackson is a threat on special teams. So for that reason, I don't see making it. So far, since we've had Coach McDermott and Brandon Beane as our guys, as our coach and GM, we've only carried over 2 quarterbacks on our active roster at a time. Even last year when Derek Anderson got healthy after his concussion, he was a healthy scratch for the remainder of the season because we had Matt Barkley and we had Josh Allen, of course. So he was a healthy scratch from that 53 or 48-man roster, whatever you want to call it, to start the season. So again, thank you for that comment. How has Barkley played in training camp? He's the same as Josh Allen, right? So every time Barkley has time, he's looked pretty good. Now, the difference between Allen and Barkley is Allen's been able to find those smaller windows, right? So Barkley, he's missed a few guys. He's thrown at their feet, things like that. But he's looked pretty good for the most part for a backup quarterback, other than when the offensive line hasn't been 100% healthy, and that's the biggest problem right now. And again, I'm not saying that's a huge problem. I don't think it is. I think everyone looks like, other than Tyler Kroft, everyone looks like they're going to be healthy by the start of the regular season. And of course, that's what matters. But at the same time, you want them taking reps, especially Mitch Morse. You want Mitch Morse taking reps with Josh Allen. Now, Mitch Morse, a savvy veteran, he'll get it. I understand that, and I know that. But they both have these idiosyncrasies that you want to make sure you get as close to under control as you can during training camp, during the preseason. And again, that's why I can't stress enough how much I'm looking forward to that second and third preseason game to make sure they get some time together during those games. Now we're about the first game against the Colts. I mean, I think, it's going to be a lot like the Hall of Fame game. You're not going to see too many people in there. By the way, guys, Hall of Fame weekend, yesterday was the Hall of Fame game. Let me know what you thought of the Hall of Fame game. Most people didn't like it. I didn't watch it. I saw 3 plays total. I do look forward to the Hall of Fame ceremony coming up tomorrow. I did a video on all the Hall of Famers. Make sure to check that out after we're done here going live. But again, let me know what you think about the Hall of Fame. Again, football is here. Hey, Fox87, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. Always good to have you in here, guys. If you're not subscribed to Fox87, go ahead and hit the Fox87's channel right now and hit that subscribe button. And then when you're done, come back here, hit that subscribe button here as well. Like this video and leave a comment. If you're not here live right now, if you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment down below. I'll still be happy to answer any questions you have about training camp, about the Bills, about an individual player. Anything you want to know, I'm happy to let you know. Just leave a comment in the comment section. So, Fox87 asks, what's up with Ed Oliver? Heard he's been really doing well. He absolutely has been doing well. Like I said, Kyle Williams has been at training camp the past 3 days. Wasn't there today. At least I haven't seen any news and notes saying that he was there today. But he was there the past three previous days of training camp, and him and Ed Oliver were working together nonstop. It seemed every time you saw a video clip, it was Ed Oliver with Kyle Williams. And then you ask if there's been any injuries. John Feliciano, you can add him to the injury report. Went back with the trainers earlier this evening during training camp, so that's something we have to monitor. We knew that there was a bunch of injuries going into camp today, but again, you have to wonder how serious some of these are. We knew Tyler Croft has his broken foot, Jason Kroom's out. We know that Dawson Knox, he was in shorts today. He was actually throwing ball back and forth with the fans, so that was good to see. Any news with Allen as well? Again, Allen's been playing well as long as he's had the offensive line to support him. When the offensive line has not supported him, still been hot and cold, right? Still been able to hit the long ball with John Brown, but then he's missing some underneath routes. Cole Beasley still looking good, but that's another thing, guys. The wide receiver drops have got to stop. I'm not sure what they look like today. I haven't gotten worried about today, but man, there was a lot of wide receiver drops so far in training camp. Even when it was raining, that's no excuse. There's going to be Sundays when it's raining, and that's not going to be a good enough excuse. Anthony writes, Drew Lock looked bad. He absolutely looked bad last night. But it was kind of cool to see, now that I forget his name, of course, the quarterback for the Falcons, Matt Schaub again. Man, I haven't seen him in forever. And for him to play in the first quarter, then come back in the fourth, that was kind of fun to see. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried am I about Mitch Morse's concussion history? How many games does he play for Buffalo this season? Well, the good news is about the Mitch Morse deal. After this season, it really becomes very team-friendly, I believe, his contract. I think he plays all 16 games for us this season. I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 4. 3 of 4. I mean, I know a lot of people are panicking about it. I would say a lot of people I see on Twitter are at like a 7 or 8 when it comes to the Mitch Morse concussion injury history. Guys, again, he didn't miss a day outside. It wasn't like he was inside resting up or recouping from the concussion. He couldn't be in the sunlight, anything like that. He was out there every single day. And to me, that's a good sign. He was even on the first day of concussion protocol, he was working drills on the sideline. So I'm not too worried about Mitch Morse at this moment. Again, you do have to worry a little bit. The center position always getting hit every single play. You do have to worry a little bit about that. But I'm no more worried about that than I am about Tyler Croft's continued foot injury, right? He re-broke the same foot that he broke last year. I'm more concerned about that injury history than I am about Mitch Morse's concussion history, if that makes sense. Who do I think makes it the team at the receiver position and the cornerback position, and who do I think gets cut or goes to the practice squad? So at the cornerback position, we're going to keep 4 corners, right? We have our 4 safeties. We're going to keep 4 corners. I think, obviously, you're going to talk about Trey White, number 1 guy, shutdown corner. Should have been an NFL top 100. Should have been, on the Pro Bowl team last year. There's a lot of should have been when it comes to Trey White and the NFL disrespecting him. But Trey White, lockdown corner, he's going to prove that again this season. You got Levi Wallace, currently is the number 2 guy, right? So Levi Wallace is going to make this team. And then, you look at Teron Johnson. He's been playing a lot of those big nickel packages that we know Coach McDermott likes, and he's also been playing the slot. So I think Teron Johnson makes it. So then I think it's between Gaines and Johnson for the Kevin Johnson, the guy we got from the Texans, for that 4th cornerback slot. And I think there's enough there with Johnson to give him the no, you know what? Now I say it. No, I like Gaines. I like Gaines. So I think Kevin Johnson's not going to make the team when it comes to cornerback. I think he's going to be the unfortunate cut. I think he's going to get picked up somewhere. I think he's a really good player, and I think he has the potential to be a really good player. Again, former first-round draft pick, just unfortunate injury concerns that have led us to not be able to fully trust what he can do on the field all the time. Give me a second. As far as wide receiver position, I'm going to say that I have 7 guys making it. Andre Roberts, you talk about Zay Jones, talk about Cole Beasley, talk about John Brown, talk about Robert Foster. Robert Foster might be a cut, guys. I'm not going to lie. Robert Foster might be close to that cut. Nick Easley and Raven McLeod, those are going to be my 7, though, for right now. King Camp. Give me a second. I'm trying to get back to comments. What happened to the other channel? Oh yeah, it's a long story, guys. Yeah. So if you were subscribed to Fox 87's previous channel, go back in there and subscribe to his new channel. Always great content there. Oh, he was there today. Okay, so Nick says Kyle Williams was at training camp again today. So more work with Ed Oliver. So that's awesome. That's really good to see. Any news on Allen? Nothing new. Like I said, nothing new. He's still wearing that red jersey, right? All you're seeing is, he was signing footballs today for the crowd and throwing them into the stands after practice. There was I think it was yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, there was a Dolphin or a young fan wearing a Dolphins jersey at one of the practices. He took the Dolphins jersey from the fan and got him a Josh Allen shirt, signed it for him. So, we got a new Buffalo Bills supporter out there, so that's good to see. But a lot of fan interaction for Josh Allen. Everyone's loving on Josh Allen. As far as his throwing abilities, we know what his throwing abilities are. He was talking on ESPN the other day. ESPN came out to visit us at training camp, and they asked him, does he think has the strongest arm, him or Mahomes? And, the truth is that neither one of them has seen another person throw a ball further than them. So that that's still something that everyone's teasing about. Maybe seeing them two someday have a throw off or something like that. And I don't think Teron Johnson makes the team. Well, that's going to be between Teron Johnson and Kevin Johnson, right? So one of the Johnson, one of those Johnson is going to make the team, I believe. Trey, Kevin Johnson, EJ Gaines, and Levi Wallace is my guess. Again, yeah, it's going to be 4 guys. And like I said, it's going to be between those 2 Johnsons. King Cam writes, I'm kind of confused on the training camp. So is everyone's spot up for the talking? I mean, so they say training camp. So you have currently, the way it works is you have 91 guys on your roster, right? 91. And you have to cut that down to 53 by August 31st. And as we've seen, you'll lose guys here, you'll pick guys up there. We lost Asiata to retirement, so we picked up a guy. Different things are going to happen. We cut Jeremiah Searles due to a injury settlement. So we picked up another guy there. So you're going to have 91 guys on your roster currently, but by August 31st, you have to have that down to 53. What most people will tell you is, the coaching staff already knows about 40 to 45 of the guys that are going to make the active roster. So it's those last 7, 8, 10 spots that are up for grabs that people want to look out for. And so, you look at the guys like the Teron Johnson. Like, we know McCoy's making the team at this point. We know Singletary's making the team at this point. Mitch Morris is making the team. Shaq Lawson, or I'm sorry, not Shaq Lawson. Ed Oliver, Cody Ford, Josh Allen, Matt Barkley. These are the guys right? We're not going to talk much about them as far as making the team, not making the team. But what we are going to talk about are the guys like the Teron Johnsons, the EJ Gaines, the guys that are on 1-2 year team-friendly deals who cutting them doesn't cost us a lot of dead cap space. At the beginning of training camp, some people were talking about LeSean McCoy because we would save over $6 million if we cut LeSean McCoy. But at this point, do we need to save that money? We're still pretty good when it comes to the salary cap situation. But so right now, Myth or King Cam, however you want to say it, it's not about all 53 or all 91 guys. It's about those select few, right? So we know, and on the other side of things, we know some guys that probably aren't going to make this team, right? Dean Marlowe probably going to be a cut if he wasn't already. Some of these other guys probably going to be casualties of the fact that we have to drop down to 53 guys, and that's just the bottom line. And again, we have some great wide receivers who are not going to make this team. Just because Duke Williams is going to be a good example of that, just because we have to narrow it down, guys. That's the bottom line. And some of these wide receivers are going to get picked up somewhere else. Someone else we haven't talked about much is Christian Wade. Christian Wade's going to make the practice squad. Good thing is, the moment we don't have him on a 53-man roster, he automatically gets put on the practice squad. So we're good with that. Allen threw a couple good throws today, but again, had the one throw across his body. I was looking on Twitter, and they said it looked a lot like the interception he threw against Green Bay. So we'll see what happens there. How is David Stills doing at receiver? We haven't seen much of David Stills. So obviously, the most we've seen on David Stills is he's been working with Tyree Jackson with the third string. But even then, he's not playing. He's not getting a lot of reps even with Tyree Jackson. So a lot of what David Stills has to prove has to come in the first preseason game. We're going to see David Stills. In fact, that's someone to keep your eye on in that first preseason game against the Colts. We're going to talk about things in that first preseason game. If you're a Bills fan, you want to keep an eye on. because you want to see who can impress, who can step up, who hasn't shown up in training camp, who will show up during game time, right? There are guys that are good when it's practice, and then there are guys that are good when it comes to playing on the field. Now, the problem is, like, Robert Foster is a great example of this. Robert Foster turns it on as soon as the whistle blows for a game, right? The problem is he's lackadaisical sometimes in practice, and we don't need that. We need someone who gives 100% all the time. This is your job. You need to treat it like it's just as important in training camp as it is during the game. But that's one of the biggest knocks on Robert Foster, and that's why he had such a hard time keeping on the team last year. Went from practice squad to the team, back to the practice squad, onto the team, because he doesn't give 100% for all the time practice, and that's not the culture Sean McDermott is trying to teach here. So, but David Sills really hasn't been around too much in training camp. He has not even worked with Josh Allen. He has not worked with Matt Barkley. He's mostly been over there at the machine, catching balls from the machine. So I would love to see David Sills get more reps. We're going to see that in that first preseason game. That's going to be his time to shine. That's when we need to see him step up the most, so that way he does get more reps. The coaches take notice to that, and he gets more reps, maybe with Matt Barkley, maybe if he gets lucky, a couple with Josh Allen, just to show what he can do. Nick Lettieri, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. Thanks for coming. You see us keeping 5 cornerbacks. Again, do the 53-man roster. I'm not so sure about. We kept 4 last year, so it's possible we do the same again this year. But maybe we keep 5. Who does he have? He had let me see. You have Trey, Johnson, and Johnson, Gaines, and Wall. So you have us keeping both Johnsons. How often we're in the nickel. We are in the nickel a lot. We know that Coach McDermott does love that deep nickel, keeping 4 safeties absolutely for 9 DBs total. And most of those 5, I think all of them except for Trey White would probably be special teams eligible as well. So you're not wrong about that. And like I said, we did lose running back help when it comes to special teams. We need to make up for that somewhere. And maybe that's one of the places where we make up for that. I don't know. I still see us keeping 4 corners, but it's possible we keep 5. You bring up some good points about the special teams, Nick. So that's very possible. We'll keep a lookout on for that. Ronald Enix writes, I think that Trey White, Levi Wallace, Kevin Gaines. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about the cornerbacks here. Micah can play special teams. He can. Do you want him to, though? He can. I'm not saying he can't, but do you want him to at this point? If you can find someone else to take his spot, maybe Kevin Johnson can take his spot. Wouldn't you want that? We want our starting safety, probably the best safety duo in the league, if you ask me, back there. And not have to worry about them getting hit on special teams. Remember that hit that one of our running backs took last year? Who was it? Teron Jones, right? I'm trying to remember his first Dwayne Jones. I don't know. Man, remember that hit he took? Helmet fall off. Took that huge hit on special teams. Got him all bloodied up. That's the last thing you want to see for someone like Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. But you don't want to see that for anybody. But I'm just saying. Mike can play special teams. He's returned punts before. He has been a punt return before. And that's when he's mostly been used as a return guy. But again, with Andre Roberts, Spencer Ware, hopefully that takes care of that. I'm sure when players, this is from John Cusado, I'm sure when players are getting cut from other teams, that's the GM will probably see if you can pick. Yeah, absolutely. So what I see happening is when we cut players, we're probably going to cut down to a 51-man roster, or maybe even 50. And then I actually think both Yarbrough and Love are gone at the defensive end position. I think we keep 4 defensive ends, but I think that they're both gone, and we're going to pick up a defensive end that is dropped by another team. I've said that before. Excuse me, guys, as I fix the camera here. I've said it before, and that's what I think is going to happen again. So, yeah, don't be surprised if when we cut players, we cut them down to about 50, and then we pick up 2 or 3 guys that were dropped from other teams. Then Nick writes, I know they can, but I don't think that. Yeah, right. That's what I was saying. Yeah, I don't know if we want to do that now that Robert's on team. I think Isaiah McKenzie will be cut. Yes, absolutely. Isaiah McKenzie will probably be a casualty. Guys, I'm just fixing my chair here a little bit, so just excuse me for a second. Yeah, I think Isaiah McKenzie is going to be casual, which is a shame. I really liked him last year. I thought he was a big spark plug for us when we picked him up from Denver, and that's the type of guy that I see getting picked up by somebody else, and get picked up by another team. We have enough room on our roster to keep 4 corners or 6 corners. That'd be tough. That'd be tough because you're obviously taking away from other positions. But again, it's really up to what Coach McDermott, Leslie Frazier, Brian Dable, they're all going to sit down in a room together and say, who do we need? What positions do we need? What positions do we need to keep? Who can we afford to have a light position at? Do we decide to only keep 4 defensive ends instead of 5 this year because we feel more confident in our defensive ends, or 4 defensive tackles, or whatever the case might be? Pitts also makes the team if we keep 6. Yeah, probably. He can, but again, it really depends where the coaches take the special teams players from, right? You can argue it's going to be cornerback. You can argue it's going to be running back because we have a lot of running back depth. You can argue it's going to be from wide receiver. I think if we keep 6 corners to play special teams, then you're definitely talking about only keeping 6 wide receivers, and again, that's fine. But it all depends where you want to get that from. So that adds to the injury depth of our offensive line. It's unfortunate, but again, the John Feliciano injury looks a little bit more serious. You talk about him going back with trainers, going into the locker room. But a lot of these injuries, including the Mitch Morse injury, I'm not too concerned about. So we'll see what continues to happen. Obviously, we're going to continue to monitor it here on Believers Talk. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Guys, like this video and leave a comment. Again, if you're not watching this live, you can definitely still leave a comment. I'll happily answer them for you at any time. But yeah, I'm just checking out the Twitter feed now, seeing what's going on with Buffalo Bills. What happened tonight at training camp. Again, the evening practice, one of the more fun ones to go to, one of the more fun ones to watch. A lot of action, a lot of fan interaction. And when we saw the first play of camp today, they had a fan on the field running up the middle and scoring a touchdown. That's always the kind of thing you want to see as the Buffalo Bills let some kid on the field. It's someone that Josh Allen's been hanging out with a bunch. I forget his name off the top of my head. I know it was tweeted out. I'm sure someone in the comment section will get mad at me for not remembering his name. But they ran run and play right up the middle, and Josh Allen threw a great block on Jerry Hughes, and he was able to break loose. So, hey, what's up? Let's go Buffalo. Absolutely the killer Matt. Thank you for joining me. Eye of the moment is Devin Singletary potentially an every down back. Who's our best option on third down? Frank Gore is our best option on third down. I don't think there's any question about that. I think Frank Gore is going to be our third down back. But Devin Singletary's definitely earned himself some time, right? I mean, you talk about how well he's done at camp. Definitely earned himself some time. And you do have to wonder, does that make one of our other running backs either cut-worthy or even trade-worthy, possibly, if we keep him? And then a running back-savvy team really needs a running back, and we can trade for maybe we keep Yeldon and use him as trade bait, right? We have a lot of options at running back and a lot of different ways we can use them, right? I think LeSean McCoy is still our star back. I think until he proves he can't do it anymore, that's the way we have to go into the season, thinking that he's still going to be our guy. But if he's not, it's going to be a quick switch, right? It's not like it's not like last year where we felt like LeSean McCoy was the only option at times as far as being that number one guy. I think we have a lot of options. I think if LeSean McCoy doesn't prove it right away, he's going to be gone just like that. Probably won't watch. I'm sorry, Anthony. You say you won't watch what? You won't watch what? The Colts game? And don't worry, guys. I'll keep you up to date. I don't know if I'll be doing any of the live preseason games. If you haven't been following, #Sports and Believers Talk are going to work together this season to give you all the live reaction and play-by-play on both YouTube and on Sportscaster.com. Sportscaster.com, link in the description below. It's going to be under #SportsName. But what it does is it's going to give you a lot more of the tools that you like to see, right? The score, down and distance, things like that. So not only will we be talking to you and giving you live play-by-play, you'll also be able to see it. Not the game, obviously. We can't show the game because of copyright, but you'll see a lot of the intangibles and knowledge that you need to know. So even if we're going on a tangent, which we all know I like to do, you'll be able to see what the down distance is, where they are, and things like that. Who do I see stepping up for the future after McCoy and Gore retire or leave? Well, obviously that's going to be Singletary, right? That's why we drafted Singletary in the third round. We hope that Singletary is our guy of the future. But then you wonder who's going to be that third down back during that time. We have Yeldon for 2 years. Do we keep him? Do we draft someone else next year? There's some good running back coming out next year. Because I don't think we keep McCoy after this season. This is the last season McCoy is on a contract with the Buffalo Bills. I don't even care if he goes for over 2,000 yards this year. I really don't see the Buffalo Bills re-signing LeSean McCoy. I love the work he's done for us. Two-time Pro Bowler with the Buffalo Bills. So I really appreciate all that he's done. I just don't know if a 30-year-old, 31, 32-year-old back next year is going to be worth that money. But obviously, Devin Singletary is going to be the guy that has to step up, has to take the mantle. And if training camp is any indication of how well he can do, I think we're in for a treat when it comes to Devin Singletary. Fox 87 writes, Will Lucas. Yeah, Will Lucas was the kid that they had run up the middle of the field. Like I said, Josh Allen, great block on the edge rusher. I said Jerry Hughes, but I think Jerry Hughes was out today. So whoever the edge rusher was on that play, great block on him. Of course, I'm kidding. And then Will Lucas runs right up the middle for the touchdown. But yeah, he does have cancer, and I know that the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, have done a lot of things for him. So great for the Bills. Congratulations to Will Lucas. Hopefully, kind of made your day, and continue fighting, man. I mean, anyone who has cancer, we talked about it back with Pontrabilla, of course. Talked about it during Jimmy Valvano week. We talked about it with Jim Kelly. We've seen a lot of these cancer stories lately, and they haven't all turned out well. For Buffalo Bills fans or for the person obviously fighting cancer. And, that's a serious topic, and that's something that we all should be fighting to beat, in one way or another. We're all affected by it, whether we know someone or if we've had it, if we're survivors. And keep fighting. That's all I have to say. Keep fighting. And Bills Mafia is going to be here to support you. And it doesn't matter if you're a fan. That's the one thing, or one of the few things, that the team you're a fan of doesn't matter. That's something we all want to beat together, and we all want to do it. So just, keep fighting if you're fighting, and, just keep doing what you're doing. The Killer Matt writes, I think the Bills are paving the way for Singletary and Wade. Wade could definitely be one of those guys. Now with Wade, you do have to worry about his age. He's not as young as some of the other guys are. I think he's already in his mid to later 20s, maybe 27, I believe. Did a video on him a little while back. Now, I don't see Christian Wade making the 53-man roster this year, but I do see him making the practice squad. The good thing about being selected as an international team, the NFL selects a division to get an international player, and in this case for us it's rugby player. The Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins all have one too, and it gives you an 11th spot on that practice squad. So we're getting a free practice squad spot for him. You might as well use it. So he's gonna be on the practice squad this year, hopefully. From what I'm hearing good things. But we want to know how fast he can pick up the game of football. He was a rugby player. I know the ball looks a little similar, but the games are not all that similar. So you want to make sure he picks up the game. And then we'll see what happens next year in training camp to see if he can make that team. Anthony writes, do you actually think we win the AFC East? Or was that message when you donated to the Sports for You a joke? I actually think we have a shot. I'm going to do my prediction show soon. And, I think we actually have a shot. And I'll tell you why during that prediction video. So you definitely want to stay tuned towards the end of August. I will be doing that. And, I think it's going to be after that third preseason game. And you might be a little surprised, but no, I truly believe, I've spent a lot of this offseason wondering if I believe that because I have those rose-colored glasses on, right? If I'm a Bills fan, and that has made me a homer and subjected me to think things that aren't necessarily true, or if I'm actually looking at it from a unbiased standpoint. I don't think as a fan of any team you can be 100% unbiased. I think if you're a fan of a team, you're a fan of a team. But I like what Brandon Beane, I like what Coach McDermott, I like what Coach Frazier have done for this team. There's no reason why we can't have the number one overall defense this year. And with that, there's no reason why our offense can't be improved this year. So with those two things alone, you would think that would make us good enough to be 9-7, 10-6. And all you need is a few more wins in there. And yes, you're fighting for that division. I think the Bills are paving the way. Oh, we are one of that. Juan Cruzado, how much does the owners have picking players? How much say do the owners have in picking players for the team? Hopefully not much. Now, we know in our situation, Kim Pegula is the president of the team, so they might have more of a say. But what you want out of, and this is where owners like Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones really get into trouble, is they try to be more part of the team than they really have to be. Your job as an owner is to hire the best president for your team. Your job as a president is to hire the best GM for your team. And your job as a GM is to hire the best head coach for your team. And then it's on the coach to hire everyone else. So if you're the owner, you've done your job in hiring the best president for our team. So let the president do the president's job. If you're the president, if you're the best president for the team, you hire the best GM. If he's the best GM, if you truly believe that, let the GM do the job that he's paid to do. And I truly believe that. And now I think the GM should have a decent amount of say as far as who makes the team, just from a contract standpoint, right? From a contract standpoint only, that's where the GM should get involved. But as far as a player talent standpoint, that should all be on the coaching staff, if you ask me. That should all be on the coaching staff. The coaches should make the decisions. They see them every day. The thing, I saw on Twitter today that both Terry Pegula and Brandon Beane were there today at training camp, which is awesome. But why is it such big news that they're there? Because they're not there every day. So when they are there, it's good to see them. It's good to see them caring about the team. Absolutely love to see that. We know that Brandon Beane was at training camp when it was in St. John Fisher. We just had his birthday celebration come up, so happy belated birthday to you, Brandon Beane. But they're not there every day. The coaches are there every single day, in and out. They know who's giving 100% during practice. They know who gave 100% during OTAs. They know who's helping their teammate up and saying, hey, good hit, hey, good job. Who's encouraging their players. Who's not sitting on the sideline thinking about himself. Who's not sitting on the sideline saying, oh, I made a bad play, I'm going to sulk. Who's not, congratulating other teammates when they make a good play. That's important stuff, too. Remember, this was 2 seasons ago now. But there was a wide receiver in a game, caught a ball over the middle, got a first down. It was like a 16-yard gain, right? Ran out of bounds on the Bills sideline. The whole team celebrated. I forget who it was. I wish I could remember who it was. Some of you might remember this. But he got like a 16-yard gain, and it was fine. It was a good play. But the whole team celebrated. Remember Kyle Williams last season, or 2 seasons ago when he got the touchdown against Miami. The whole team celebrated. Last season, he got that catch in his last game against Miami. The whole team's like, that's important. That's important as when it comes to a team. So I really hope that the owners don't have too much of a say, but some owners do. But I really hope, in Terry Pegula's case, I just hope he's doing a good job as an owner, and I think he is. And I think he's going to leave the rest to Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott. The Killer Matt says, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of diversity at wide receiver during this preseason games. In my opinion, I believe the wide receiver is the biggest question mark for the Bills, even over the O-line. We have a lot of good wide receivers on this roster. We don't have a sure number 1, but we got a lot of number 2s, a lot of number 3s on this team. So we got to keep that in mind, right? And I think watching those guys is going to be very important for the wide receiving core. Now, I think if everyone was healthy on the offensive line, we already have 4 of the 5 guys determined. The only question mark during training camp when everyone was healthy was the right guard spot, right? That was Spencer Long or John Feliciano. One of those 2 guys were going to get it. But as far as the rest, you have Dawkins lining up at left tackle almost all the time. Excuse me. You have Quentin Spain was lining up at left guard. You have, of course, Mitch Morse. The right guard tackle is going to be the question mark, or right guard. Right tackle, you had Cody Ford most of the time. Now Ty Nsekhe is getting more reps. So some people think that might be Ty Nsekhe showing that he can battle for that position. But we also saw Ty Nsekhe at left tackle for Deion Dawkins as well. I think Ty Nsekhe is just getting time. Pretty much, again, using his versatility to see how he responds, which position is his best, is his strongest. So that way, if someone does get injured during the regular season, we can just plug him in at the best position, move everyone around if we have to, and then have the best offensive line available. But I think our starting five is pretty much set. So for that reason, I think wide receiver might be a little more important, especially when you get to that 5th, 6th, possibly 7th wide receiver on our depth chart. Might be very interesting to watch preseason to see what happens there. Does Allen need a fullback for any kind? For everything I hear at camp is that we are going to keep our fullback. So if we are going to keep our fullback, that's something else to pay attention to when it comes to who else we keep at running back. Patrick DeMarco has been named as one of the special teams captains, and the special teams coach talked about how he needs Patrick DeMarco to step up on special teams to be one of those key guys. And if he's going to be a key guy, that means he's going to make the team. So from everything we're hearing from training camp, Patrick DeMarco is going to make this team. And if you have that fullback, you might as well use him at the fullback position, not just that special team. So I can see him being used in the offense, maybe about last year, about 50% of the plays, and then again being a special teams captain as well. Jeremy Curley, yes, Nick, you're absolutely right. It was Jeremy Curley, so thank you. How come the NFL Network doesn't show much of the Buffalo Bills? I don't know, John. I just really don't know how the NFL Network chooses what to play and what not to play. There's not. Unless you're a Bills fan, there's not a lot of excitement surrounding Buffalo. You're talking about a team who's only made the playoffs once in the last 20 years. So you really can't blame the media for not giving us more attention. We're a young team. We're an up-and-coming team. If we want to prove them wrong, now's the time to do it. And what better way to do it than to make the playoffs this season? You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, you are correct, Anthony, and it was Jeremy Curley. You're absolutely right. It was a pretty good job by both Anthony and Nick there. Let me know. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Do you ever get to talk to McDermott or Brandon Beane? I wish. They're welcome on the show anytime. Anytime they want to come on the show, they're more than welcome. I have been talking with BewareTheStampede.com. Again, guys, teaming up with BewareTheStampede.com, giving away this Andre Reed signed mini helmet. We're talking about Hall of Fame weekend. Guys, we're giving this away. Go to BewareTheStampede.com. Log entries. If you're already subscribed, you can still log your entry as a subscriber. Follow us on Twitter. There are plenty of ways to enter. So, again, if you haven't already subscribed to Bleav Talk, make sure you do that. Again, thank you for joining me. Hit that like button. If you haven't already hit that like button, guys, and give me a like and then leave a comment, and we'll happily get to that. Fox 87A News on Tyler Kroft. Tyler Kroft was at practice today for the first time since he broke his foot. He was on the sidelines. He was actually in shorts, so he is getting better, but you're still looking at a 2 to 4 month recovery time. To be honest, looking at the timeline, I wouldn't expect to see him until after our bye week, week 6. I think week 7 we play the Dolphins. That's when I expect to see him in there. Will we ever have cheerleaders again? I doubt it, just because they sued the Buffalo Bills, so I'm sure that leaves a sour taste in the owner's mouth. Now, the owner's different. The owner's not Ralph Wilson. So I think we might need to see a change in ownership. We definitely have other things that we want to do before we start talking about getting cheerleaders again. You're talking about the Buffalo Jills, of course. But you have to look at a new stadium first. Build this team up. Give us something to watch before we start talking about cheerleaders. But yeah, considering the cheerleaders went after the Buffalo Bills ownership, I don't think they're going to be in a hurry to bring them back. So I'm not expecting any time in the near future. I didn't even hear he was out of his walking boot. From what I understand, he was in his walking boot today at camp, but maybe they said out. Maybe I misread that. So so I haven't heard much other than that. Like I said, still a pretty long recovery time. Daniel writes, thank you, Daniel, for stopping by. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, guys, hit that subscribe button. I think I've seen you in here before, though, so thanks for joining us again. If they start going to the playoffs on regular, they will get more national attention. Absolutely. They absolutely will get more national attention. Thank you, Daniel. Again, you can win this helmet. Anyone can win this helmet right now, guys. Between now and August 6th, go to BewareTheStampede.com and log your entries there, and you get a chance to win Hall of Fame Andre Reed signed mini helmet. So go ahead and log your entry, and then get yourself a chance to win that Buffalo Bills helmet. So, but again, thank you, Daniel, for joining in. And you're right. All that matters is winning. So if we start winning, we're going to get more national attention. And if we start winning, they'll give us higher ratings in Madden. USA Today will not underestimate us in their rankings or in the predictions. You'll see more Pro Bowlers, things like that, because we'll get that national attention. We'll get some TV time. I mean, guys, we're getting a Thanksgiving game against the Dallas Cowboys. Who's not excited for that this season? I'm so excited to be playing Dallas and to get hopefully that W on Thanksgiving Day. I'm hoping that I'm bringing you that game, but it's possible Hashtag Sports is too. We haven't figured out the schedule yet, but either way, you are going to be covered. So on Thanksgiving, be sure to check us out on sportscaster.com, and also we'll be streaming it here on YouTube for you as well. So I look forward to that game. Oh, see, now you guys are confusing me with Brandon Tate. Now you throw Brandon Tate in there. I'm not sure who it was. I just remember that and loved the camaraderie that showed. You know what? That had a lot to do. That camaraderie that we saw 2 seasons ago, a lot to do with why we made the playoffs. That's heart. That's determination. That's what Kyle Williams was talking about after we finally made the playoffs. How everyone doubted us, and here we are making the playoffs. That's what heart and determination could do. Heart and determination can make a 16-yard gain a game-changing, momentum-shifting type play that makes us win a game. A 1-yard touchdown run by our defensive tackle can make a big difference, can change the outcome of a game for us. So that's why those things are important. You think they do start do short-term IR for Kroft? No, I don't see him starting to week 7. So you can put him on the PUP list, and then he's eligible after week 8, I believe it is. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put him on the PUP list. I really wouldn't be. But I'm not sure, because it's possible that the PUP list means you're not available to week 10. And if that's the case, then I don't see them putting him on the PUP list. I think then he will be just on IR for now. Do you think Dawson Knox will end up being the Bills' number 2 tight end as the season goes on? I actually think the Dawson Knox, depending on Tyler Kroft, I think Dawson Knox might be the number 1 tight end by the end of the season. I know that him and Josh Allen were building a good rapport during training camp. And so I'd like to see that young tight end, young quarterback, getting together. Jason Kroom, I like him, but I'm not blown away by him. You talk about Dawson Knox's athleticism, right? I mean, he gives you another element that most people don't even know about, because you talk about Ole Miss, where he comes from, right? And you talk about DK Metcalf, and you talk about AJ Brown or whatever his name is. They were explosive, and so obviously they used those 2 wide receivers to open up the field. But you talk about Dawson Knox, and you see his athleticism, and you saw it in training camp before he got hurt, a hamstring injury, and I hope it's not serious. I think Dawson Knox might surprise some people. I think Dawson Knox, by the end of the season, might be our starting tight end. Daniel Rhodes, I hear out of walking boot for Kroft, so I probably misread that. So good, he's out of the walking boot, but that still doesn't mean he doesn't have about 2 to 3 months of recovery time left. So, again, we hope that he has a fast recovery, but we also hope he gives it time to heal. Because, again, this is the same broken foot that he had last season. So we want to give it time to heal. We want to make sure. I would rather give him too much time than not enough at this point, right? So that's why give him till the bye week, even if he says he's healthy going into week 2. Give him to a bye week, right? You figure if you start practicing with the team week 2, by week 7, you'll be ready to go. You'll have the practice with Josh Allen you need. You'll have gotten those reps at that point, and then you and Josh Allen can be on the same page when it comes to play calling, and you don't have to figure it out on the fly. So we'll see what happens there. For the Bills being UTR with the media, under the radar, I like the under the radar aspect of it, but if we stay under the radar, that means we're not winning. I like winning more like being under the radar. We saw what the Patriots did this past season, right? No matter how much they get talked about, somehow they still try to convince themselves that they were the underdog, right? And it doesn't matter what the media does. What matters is inside that locker room. And I think Coach McDermott has a good rapport with his team now, where even if he does get the national media attention when we do this season, when we start 7-1, even if we get that national media attention, all that matters is that room, that locker room, those guys. What are their what are they recognizing the national media doing? What are they seeing? What are they telling themselves? If they get too high on themselves, we'll see that on the field. If they keep themselves humble, if they say, no, this is the same media that dogged us for 18 straight years. This is the same. It's us versus everybody, and that mentality needs to stay no matter what the national media does once we do get off to a good start. Once we beat the Patriots week 4, we need to stay humble. We need to stay hungry. And we need to let people know this isn't the same Bills team that you remember. This is a different Bills team, and we are going places. We are not settling for a wild card berth loss in the first round. We are not settling for 8-8. We're not settling for that stuff anymore. We have bigger, better things. I just saw on Twitter, what the Bills' expectation on defense is to win, or is to be the number 1 defense overall. I got some messages. Let's make sure it's no Bills news here. It's not, so that's good to know. But what are our expectations? So we need to keep those expectations high. So I look forward to that. I look forward to the season. I hope you do too. Again, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Believers Talk, man, 2019 is gonna be a fun year. You talk about me teaming up with #sports. We're gonna have fun, guys. You talk about me teaming up with Team Stamp, www.bewarethestampede.com, Team Stampede. We're going to have fun. We're going to keep you up to date. So go to bewarethestampede.com for all your Buffalo Bills news. Again, log your entries to win this helmet, guys. We have from now to August 6th, the end of training camp, to win this helmet. August 8th, the first preseason game against the Colts. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you all join me. Dan writes, Croft's foot needs to get healthy. Absolutely. And it can take months. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm willing to wait for a healthy Tyler Kroft if that's what it takes, instead of him coming out for a week and then getting re-injured or something like that. So again, guys, I thank you for joining me on this late edition of Believers Talk. Again, evening training camp, so it was a lot of fun getting on here with you guys, sharing what I know, getting some knowledge from you guys as well, and that's what it's all about here on Believers Talk. So hit that subscribe button, like this video. Lots of things going on in 2019, so you want to stay posted. I'll be doing a prediction show every single week this year. I'll be going live Monday during halftime of Monday Night Football to recap the Sunday game, going live Thursday during halftime of the Thursday night game to get us ready for that Sunday game, except for Thanksgiving. We'll be here in some way, shape, or form, giving you live play-by-play and reaction to the Bills-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving Day. Again, hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment. If you're not watching live, still leave a comment. I will happily get back to you. I had the moment exactly right. I look forward to talking to you all soon. I look forward to the season. And again, I look forward to just sharing it with you guys. So I'll talk to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.